The states are being turned into vassals of the feds. This is empire, and we need to turn this around. We need to turn this around today.
All right. No, Alex, we need to move on to a very important issue. AP goes, the world closely watching U.S. presidential elections, and op-ed news is if the world could vote in the U.S. election. And, of course, many believe Obama's international experience would go a long way in helping repair damage caused by the unpopular U.S.-led wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, with recent opinion polls from more than 70 nations favoring him, a resounding 3-1 over Republican John McCain. So, Wayne Slater, what's it say for the world 3 foot broad?
Basically, I have to tell you that many American voters, if they knew that the rest of the world wanted Barack Obama, it would not be a positive for Barack Obama. On the other hand, there is a general sense, and I think Barack Obama is going to pull the troops out of Iraq. I think he's going to reposition some troops into Afghanistan, as he promised.
And Pakistan.
And there is going to be a very active effort to reach out to the rest of the world in a way the Bush administration has not done. This is going to be a change, a difference. Now, maybe some critics don't think that's enough, but this administration is going to do that. I have a great confidence.
We'll see.
If Barack Obama is elected tomorrow, you're going to see a different America in terms of its relationship with the rest of the country, including the Middle East.
Wayne, let me ask you this then real fast. Why then is Joe Biden and others saying get ready for him to do something internationally? What is this crisis? You know, you're kind of an insider in the Democratic Party. I mean, you've been flying around with Obama. All these leaders, including in Europe, have said a major crisis on the 21st and 22nd of January when he is inaugurated. Colin Powell said it on Meet the Press. Can you please enlighten us and tell us what this major international crisis is going to be that Joe Biden says, his running mate, is going to be very unpopular with the left? Sounds like going into Pakistan to me.
Wayne?
That's entirely possible. Pakistan is a more aggressive approach to Pakistan as a possibility. What Biden said was that the new president, whoever it was, would be challenged, would be tested, especially if it's a new president like Barack Obama. I don't know what it's going to be, Alex. It's going to be something. Somebody's going to rattle their saber somewhere. But I do think that most forces, whether they're in the Middle East or elsewhere, whether it's North Korea, understand that there is a continuity, whether you like it or not, in the United States.
No, I know
and that any challenge of this president, whoever it is going to be met by this government. Absent that, we're going to see a different approach and attitude by a Barack Obama administration to its dealings with the rest of the world, a willingness to...
I agree. It's going to be a velvet glove, and that's why the corporations want him, because he can sell the world on accepting a couple more wars.
But let's have Dr. Boyd. And Dr. Boyd, from so many actually, let's talk about continents right now, of course, the Middle East as well. Let's talk about transatlantic relations. Let's talk about Latin America. Let's talk about the Middle East, Iraq, and Afghanistan, of course, briefly but broadly. The difference.
Well, I think it's interesting that the article that you initially referenced talked about Barack Obama's international experience. I would have thought that if Barack Obama had a weakness, it was his lack of an international experience. I do hope the paper wasn't referring to his brief but glorious European tour, which saw him come to London and Berlin earlier in the summer.
The new German Führer.
No sort of experience to base upon whatsoever. John McCain arguably has a far greater international experience in dealing with the press and with the international leaders. So I think that's a little bit of a misnomer on that account. In terms of how he's going to deal with things, as I said earlier on, tone is going to have an awful lot to do with this. I think he will be more prepared to take an aggressive stance with Pakistan and their perhaps inability and willingness to...
Does that mean a new war?
Does it mean a new war? No, I don't think it means a new war. I think it means taking on a slightly different approach with regard to Pakistan. I think what Obama will do will be to shift quite rightly the focus away from Iraq towards the battlefront in Afghanistan and to hopefully try and alleviate the pressure which is on the British troop contingent in that part of the world.
But only on the surface. They're going to stay in Iraq. They're going to leave at least 50,000 troops there and bring in more...
That's the question. Dr. Boyd, how about Iraq? Do you see just residual forces left in Iraq, according to Barack Obama? What does he mean by that? 50,000, 60,000 and permanent bases?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm not an insider of the Pentagon. I can't comment upon exactly what figures are going to be there. I would agree with Alex that America, where it goes overseas, tends to remain. And this is one of the main arguments against it.
Yeah, so they're going to depoliticize it. Oh, it's a liberal, it's a Democrat. It's okay to keep the troops there, and then we'll just forget about it.
Hang about. Not at all. I think one of the main complaints against American foreign policy is this idea that it doesn't have an exit strategy because it doesn't intend to ever leave, and I think there is a major problem there. I think the main shift is going to move away from Iraq towards Afghanistan, but I do think that as armies after armies and centuries after centuries have discovered, the British included, Afghanistan is very much a black hole into which a number of Western powers have sunk. And I fear the United States is just going to be the latest in a long line.
Well, I agree with you. It's collapsing right now. The forces are already pinned down in, 2 or 3 major cities. I mean, Mohammed Karzai is really only the mayor of Kabul. And the rest of the troops are there just guarding the opium fields to make sure that gets shipped out to America's breakfast tables. But bottom line here, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the New World Order. Get ready. They have announced that they're going to have a small group of private central banks running the world's finance, controlling everything through new international agreements. And Bush's legacy is going to be to demonize true conservatism, demonize the United States, and then basically set us up for the next phase of the New World Order globalism based out of Europe. And so, basically, I want it on record that George Bush is not from Texas. George Bush is not a real conservative. George Bush was a globalist puppet who was put in there to make everybody have rage and hate the United States so the establishment could then give us their new savior, their new world leader, their new world president, as Newsweek calls him, Barack H. Obama. And he is there to fool the world. And I'm telling you, we're in for hard times, ladies and gentlemen. Just get ready. And Afghanistan and Pakistan and encircling Russia and that sneak attack that NATO and the U.S. did through their proxy in Georgia and the nerve of our media, that shows how reckless they are to come on our TV sets and say Russia snuck attack them. I mean, we're in a lot of trouble, and I'm telling you, they have told us, Powell listed the days this is supposedly going to happen. And I'm telling you, they're going to try to make him look like a tough war hawk. They may even do some more stage Gulf of Tonkin stuff to basically christen, have an inaugural terror event or something so that Barack Obama can pose as a savior.
All right, we have about a minute left. Wayne Slater would like to have more from you on Obama and the international scene if he's president, if polls are proven right. The Palestinian issue, the Latin American issue.
He's already promised in this campaign. Yeah. He is going to be much more open in dealing with Latin America. He's going to be much more open, frankly, in dealing with Iran in an effort to deal and to reverse the attitudes of the rest of the world, the bad attitudes about the United States. This is going to be a very different administration.
Good cop, bad cop.
And with respect to going actively against war, the American people have no appetite for an active military expedition now after this debacle in Iraq. This administration will be governed by an American attitude in terms of the public that will really be designed in engaging the rest of the world in a positive, at least in a communicative way.
Corporate PR.
I think that's going to be instinct is what we're going to see.
All right, that's pretty much the time we had for another edition of Fine Print, a very special 1 hour before November 4th. U.S. presidential election, what's at stake for the U.S. and the world. We'll have a special coverage of that. From London, we're joined by Dr. James Boyce, Assistant Professor of International Political Studies at Richmond, the American International University in London, and founder of the Resolute Group from Austin, Texas, by Wayne Slater, author and senior political writer of Dallas Morning News, co-author of Bush's Brain, How Karl Rove Made George W. Bush Presidential. He's also been in the plains of both campaigns for the past few weeks. By the phone from Austin, Texas again, by Alex Jones, investigative journalist, documentary filmmaker, and owner of Infowars.com. Gentlemen, thank you for your time, views.
Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen. Enjoyed talking to you.
Steve, and to our viewers, always watch out for the fine print right here in Press TV with me.